just so everyone knows, the mics are open now.
They're live?
Yeah.
So I should not say anything to...
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hi YouTube. Welcome to Monday/Tuesday, Amigos and Co. Also, just in perfect timing, my next door neighbor has decided to turn his whippersnipper on, or what do you call them? A weed whacker? Is that what you call them in
Motor
Weed eater.
sniffer.
A whippersnipper?
Line trimmer.
Line trimmer. Thank you very much.
I
Yeah.
think that's like the proper term.
It's proper. Yeah. The line trimmer. The line trimmer is literally 4 meters that way. So thank you to my neighbor for starting at 2 minutes before going live. Outstanding.
It's kind of ironic that he's started his line trimmer when Chris was telling us all about his line trimming earlier.
Yeah.
Indeed,
True.
yep. And Frames Janklin is asking who's whacking weeds. I think there's a joke in there somewhere as well. But we you can put your weed in here.
I'm not against it.
Yeah. Welcome everyone. Welcome Randall's Reviews from Las Vegas. Welcome Legion Vapes of Legion Vapesville in northern New South Wales. And the hashtag Canadian Jesus Overdrip from Canada. Welcome, you magnificent bastard. You. How the hell are you? Welcome to Amigos and Co.
I'm personally great. I
Awesome.
can't answer for the other gentlemen that are up here.
Yeah.
But I personally am feeling great. It's a Monday. I'm done work. I get to hang out with some chill people.
Yeah. Some
What better can you get?
some
Who you
chill.
hanging out with later?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I just want to also ask in chat if everyone can hear us okay. OBS decided to pull a little dangle clack on me before we went live. I think we're okay. But if someone can, just put a X1 potato in the chat, that'd be great. If you can hear us all and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. You can't get me. You can't get me sweating. It's too cold here, and even if I am freaking out, I won't be sweating because it just won't be happening. We're very lucky to have Mr. Overdrip on the show today because we wanted to talk about some Canadian stuff. I know probably a lot of people are aware of what's happening in Canada, but just another place where we're getting held down by the powers that be. But before we get into the heavy stuff, I'd like to just make sure everyone was all right and all that sort of thing. And I kind of want to talk about your Uncle Chris's testing grounds, man. How's it going? I'm seeing you all over the Intergoogles, and maybe give us an update about how that's going. Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going all right. It's like, I guess it's like any business. If you started out, like it's a bit slow at the beginning, and you just got to keep on pushing through in hopes that eventually it starts to, I don't want to say take off because that's like very idealistic, but it levels off in like a slow momentum up. So this is only, I think this is the 5th month. No, it'll be 6 months and 2 days since I actually officially launched the site. And it's been going pretty good. Like, honestly, when I look at my numbers overall, it looks bigger than it actually feels. There's been a few slower months, and there's been a few really good months. So overall, it's been all right. I mean, it allowed me to start with 2 flavors, and now I'm at 4. And I'm really close to sending some more out to the lab. To maybe round it out to like 6, something like that.
Nice.
But it's a grind, man. It's a grind. It's like some days you're like, wow, this is pretty fucking awesome. And then there's other days where you're like, all right, I guess I didn't need to check the website today because nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that I think part of it is just because there's people throughout the world, right, that are into vaping, and lots of people aren't really used to international shipping. I think that maybe Australians are and Canadians are, but I think people in America or even people in the UK, they're not really used to international shipping. Most things that they get, they'll get in their own country.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people are really, I don't want to say that they're really not thinking about it, but I think that there's a certain portion of people that are like, I don't know if I want to wait 6 weeks is what they think that it's going to take, or
Yeah.
there's just like a little bit of a deterrent that doesn't allow them to like hit that checkout now thing, because you'll get traffic on your site and everything else, but it's unique to me because I understand what it's like to order stuff from outside of the country. I've ordered stuff from Australia, I've ordered stuff from America, I've ordered stuff from the UK, China, obviously, and a few different places as well. And I'm just used to waiting. Like, to me, it's not a big deal. I'm not one of those people that, like, if I want something, I want it now.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that will gladly wait for something that I really want, and I'm okay with spending a little less money than spending full pop and going and getting it that day.
Or shipping cost is already factored into your finances of that purchase, right? You're thinking shipping as well.
Yeah, well, and it all depends, right? So, for example, I don't know, I've not shipped anything from the site outside of Canada or the USA. So I don't know how much it actually costs to ship to Australia or costs to ship to the UK or any of that, because I haven't actually crossed that bridge yet. But for people that are in North America, like people in Canada, it's $7.50 flat rate shipping Canadian, and it's $10 flat rate shipping like Canadian to the US. So like I lose a little bit of money on those things, but at the same time, for me, I hate paying extra in shipping. I always like to pay a little bit less than, because I've been bent over. Like, there's literally a place in the States that I want to order concentrates from so bad, but even if I put in one 30 ml bottle of concentrates, they want to charge me $48.50. Well, you know what? I'm not spending $48.50 US on shipping for anything, unless I'm ordering like a 5-gallon pail. Then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Make it worth
to
it.
me, that's just ridiculous, because I know how much it costs. Like, I know, I see how much I pay. I know how much my friends have paid to send stuff to me, because I'll be like, oh, yeah, this place charges a ridiculous amount of money for shipping. This place a ridiculous amount for shipping. And I'll send it all to one friend, and then they'll send it to me for like a quarter of the price of what one place would have charged me. So I understand like that whole thing. So maybe that's why, to me, ordering from a different country is not a big deal. But I think that, like, slowly, as time goes on and people try, ordering from my site and realize that more often than not, it gets there in less than 2 weeks. To me, that for international shipping, that's really not outrageous.
No.
Like, under 2 weeks, to me, seems pretty good. It'll always be moving. So I just think that, like, as time goes on, as long as it's like legal for me, obviously, to sell flavored e-liquid, things will pick up.
Yeah.
Like, it's already kind of like moving along. I get more repeat customers, and I'll get like a spattering of like new people that are trying it out. And there's people that have like emailed me and been like, hey, yeah, like next month I'm gonna try. I think that it's also different because, like, I don't live with a tight budget. So, like, to me, if I want something, I buy it. Right? So, like, I think that some people, they'll think in advance. So they'll be like, oh, next month when I have my, like, frivolous money, I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
And then they'll decide, and, some people will do that or whatever else. So it's just, long story short, it's going just fine. It's still exciting to me. I'm sorry, I could have just rambled on forever. Like,
no, that's good.
Vandal. Anyways, but yeah, it's going just fine. Like, and if anybody wants to try it, by all means, it's Uncle Chris Testing Grounds.
Yeah, I've got it in
Shed Time.
on. It's in our little banner. You can see it. You can also follow at Overdrip on Instagrams, and the Uncle Chris Testing Grounds are in the little news scroller. That whippersnipper, seriously.
Yeah, that was a bit louder there.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, he heard you.
He's getting closer. Yeah. I'm gonna throw.
Is he doing your lawn too?
No, he's just like, the fence is just there, and he's decided to start just there. So it's like, come on, man.
And back to what our good friend Overdrip was saying there. I think that a lot of Americans are very hesitant from ordering from Canada. They view it as being the same as ordering from China or Europe or anything. It's like, it's overseas. It's not American. And they don't realize, yeah, Canada's right there. Literally, you're adding a day to the shipping. Like, literally one more day. Like Like people in Washington State will order from Alabama before they order from BC. It's like it really shouldn't hinder you in any way. If you're American and you see a Canadian product or a Canadian retailer, absolutely go for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work the same. Come in the reverse, because the Canadian government loves to slap custom fees on just about anything coming across the border.
Not only that, but like I think that in America, when you ship stuff to America, like outside of COVID times, obviously, because they've had shutdowns and like some of the big international mail distros, they've actually had like shutdowns. So I've had a few packages in like the last 6 months that take 28 days, but that'd be one, and the other 9 out of that 10 will get there in less than 14.
Right now,
so like
with
if
the
I
US
sent something
Postal
today,
Service,
they'd get it next week.
Yeah,
Right?
now it's up in the air with our USPS system because of the cuts they did and everything. So like you said, you get one that gets there in a week, you get one that takes a month. Like it depends on the luck of the draw, who you get and what distributor it goes through and all that.
Yeah, because it always gets to like Chicago within like 2-3 days. It'll be like in Chicago, so it goes through Border Patrol or whatever, and like customs. I don't know how it all works in America. I know how it works here, so like that's the way that I see it, is probably the same way. But if I send it, like let's say today's Monday, I send it out tomorrow, by Thursday it'll be in Chicago. After that, it's all on USPS. So there's no difference. It's like I just took 2 days to ship it to you in Chicago, as opposed to it actually leaving from my area, going to Toronto, and then going to Chicago.
But the other thing,
like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have no complaints personally.
the other strange thing is the routes. Like if I'm sending something to the UK or receiving something from the UK or China, days, like literally days. Anything going to the US will sit here in our port for 10 days before they even look at it. It's ridiculous. Yep. And so the flights coming to the other side of the world, no problem. Flights going to your area in the world, it's just an absolute roll
I
of the
know it's
dice.
close to a bulk ship date too if I'm shipping to Australia, because like the prizes we give away on here and stuff I've shipped out it's a lot cheaper. And so like one time I shipped out a prize to somebody, Sidle in the chat if he's here, shout out to him. I shipping something to him, and it was on like the same week that they're about to ship everything. It was only like $20. It got to him in like 4 days. And then there'd be other times where I ship it and it's like $60 to send like a box this big, and it takes 3 months to get there.
Yeah. It's all messed up.
Like it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss.
It really is hit or miss. Because I actually sent out something maybe 2 weeks ago, and it left here on a Monday, and I'm pretty sure that the person got it like in the south of the States on the Saturday. So like it shipped out on a Tuesday and got there on the Saturday. Yeah. And I was like, now that's pretty good. Like if it was always like that, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have to look at it, because I'm one of those people, like whenever there's a bunch of orders out, I'll just like go down to where I see like everything's been delivered, and I'll just work my way up and see where they are. And if it's like delayed or something, sometimes I'll like shoot that person a message and just say, hey, like I don't know if you've actually been tracking it, but like it's been stuck in Chicago for a week.
I've actually noticed over the past year, a lot of the companies I'm reviewing for, not all of them, some of them, they're all hit or miss. Most of them give you tracking. Some of them just say, yeah, we'll send you something, and you never hear from them again. So it's like, you kind of like, am I getting it or not? Until the day it turns up, I don't know what's going on. But the ones that track it, sometimes there's a good handful of them, and they're actually kind of smart. They'll talk to you and they'll say, yeah, we'll send that off. And then you'll get an email saying, yeah, here's the tracking number. And as soon as I put it in, it's in Sydney. And I look at the backtracking and you say, oh, so you shipped this off 2 weeks ago and it went to Hong Kong and it did all this runabout, but I didn't track any of that. They didn't give me the number until it was in the country, until they were sure that it was on its way to my door, which I actually think is kind of smart from their perspective,
That's like one of those like little things that you'd appreciate.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when it's coming, and because you've had a lot of people in the past probably say, oh yeah, we put it in the mail, and it never actually was.
I've got a list like this long figurative list. I haven't actually written. I don't have a hit list, but I have a massive list of things I was supposed to review that just never turned up. Just somewhere out there floating around the postal system, there's a Jenna with my name on it, just circling the world.
Yep. I have a few orders that have just disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle, and a few purchases that have disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle as well. So it's. But the other thing about shipping, depending on the logistics on who you send it with, some will be awesome and it stops along all the way, or others like Australia Post is once it leaves this country, they have zero tracking until it's delivered. Like that's it. You get nothing. So it's just shit. Yeah. Hashtag
All I
shit.
know is
Yeah,
that it all
Canada
do
Post
better.
is marginally better than
Yeah.
that. It's not much better though.
Yeah.
They can all
Because
do
I'll
way
always
better,
end up
though.
like flipping it. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, it's all good. I just want to say, like, there's this website called Shein that I ordered these cheap T-shirts off of from China. Their tracking is like hour by fucking hour, like from China to the United States. And like, if we're supposed to be like the great Western countries, bitch, figure that shit out for every other shipping. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah. How hard is it?
An $8 T-shirt. I have GPS tracking like it's a fucking James Bond movie. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
See, I know we're supposed to live in a world where we don't have environmental waste and we're trying to improve things and all that. But man, would you not appreciate that? A cheap disposable GPS thrown in the box of every shipment, no matter what you order, who you order it from. Just here's the GPS, here's your code, boom. Now I know where it is, exactly where it is, every second of the day until it gets into my hands.
And you can go meet up at the porch
I
carrier.
would freaking love that concept.
That's what the vaccine is, bro.
Yeah, but that's only holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Not packing.
True.
Unless they're gonna start like chopping up some of their you got to put like one hair in every package. That's
Yeah.
the DNA.
Yeah.
You don't get hair in your package?
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
just
imagine
like close
anything
your eyes and
specific
you'd be like,
about-
yes, I know exactly where it is. It's
Yeah.
almost reaching at him.
I ordered some new kidneys from Fast Tech and they're on the way. So yeah.
Is that what we had for dinner, are you?
8 points. It was amazing. I got them for way less than what you normally would pay.
Speaking of Fast Tech, maybe we should go towards this little bumper action because you've got to do it. We're 20 minutes in and we haven't even done the buffet yet.
It's a good show.
Just before the lawyers call, our guest, Canadian Jesus is what I just said. Canadian Jesus. What are you putting in your face hole right this current very second?
Okay, so I got a pretty light setup tonight. I'm definitely not pulling a Legion. I'm kind of in between Legion and Chris. I'm like in between. I'm doing okay, but it's gonna be pretty quick. So the first thing I got is a Unicorn Vert with a black goon on top. This is a Robin's Egg DHD chop top. I actually have some semi-nitro aliens in there. In the liquid I got, Adam's familiar with this brand. He's probably not familiar with this flavor. This is from Canada. It's Elevate, and this one's called Rise. And it's all right. It's not anywhere near, to me, as good as Lift. This one's a strawberry cheesecake, and it's just like...
I thought with the name Rise, it would be Viagra.
No, the other one's called Lift, and it's like a vanilla waffle cone or something. There's another one too, but I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it's called or any of that stuff. But it's all right. Like I don't want to. I'm not talking smack about the liquid. I'm just saying that it's all right. Next setup, which is also my last setup. This is probably pretty controversial, but this is the best mod that Times Vape ever put out and that Stan ever put out, and it's the Heavy Hitter mod. So I got that in brass. I got a gold Widowmaker on top. I bought this RDA for $5 because they were doing all these blowout sales because things have to be CRC here now. So before July 1st, like everything that was rebuildable was getting like blown out. So I bought it for $5 Canadian, which is hilarious because the drip tip on top was 3 times as much as that. So this is a Copper Rose chop top from DHD because chop tops are life. Sorry, Adam, I know that you like nub tips, but they're just the best. And the coils that I got in here actually are some coils from a guy named Dan Coils on Instagram. And it's working real well. And the liquid that I got, I'm almost finished it. So You guys will have to read it upside down. So this one here is Sifu Stash. It's profiles and custard. It's not really focusing. And this one is the Figure It Out. So it's a fig custard. And I'm almost finished it. So I will say I've enjoyed it. It's unique. I don't know if it would be for everyone just because the whole bottle, okay? The whole bottle. I've been like vaping it, and once I'm exhaling, I'm like, I don't think I've ever tasted anything like this before in my life. And nice. I don't know if I think it's delicious or it's just so unique that it kind of like I stumble on it. Because I think that it's a fresh fig as opposed to like the only way that I've ever ate figs, which is in a fig Newton. But I've enjoyed it nonetheless, and that is everything for me. So I'm gonna throw it. Can I throw up someone, or do you want to?
Bien sûr.
It's in your hands.
Okay, Vandal, go ahead because it'll be easy, and then you can go into Steve up.
Thanks, and I appreciate you calling me easy. No, I do want to say though, because you said it. Has anyone ever eaten figs besides a fig Newton? You're fucking Australian, dude. They just like grow there. That doesn't count. No, I'm kidding. All right, so tonight I got my Caliburn. I actually had to get a new one because like this like my 10th one because I keep dropping them like in the shower or the water and like on the road or the street. Still put it in my mouth though. Anyways, so I got a black Caliburn with anarchist orange, and yeah, that's all I got. Steve, what do you got?
Wow. And I thought my list was going to be quite short and sweet today, but that was phenomenally fast. I actually have a pod system in hand today. If you guys check my channel, last week I took the week off, kind of accidentally, did no reviews, so I panicked and I rushed through, and I literally released 3 pod reviews this morning. Boom, boom, boom. And then I woke up and realized I had them scheduled for tomorrow. So I had to quickly hit that publish button. Sorry to anyone who was confused by that. But yeah, this is one of them, the Xtal Pro from ZQ. It's not a bad little setup. Nice and sleek, nice and small, and 30 watts, which is a decent output for me because I got the, what is that? That is the 0.6 coil. Perfect sweet spot for me. In there, I have something that I can't identify. That's the problem. I filled it up and I can't remember what it is. I like it. It's familiar.
It can't be that good though.
Yeah.
I think it's Anarchist White. Not 100% sure.
Sounds like a mixture. Sounds like a mixture to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I filled it with one and then I filled it with something else, and now it's just all familiarly sweet. Still rocking the Ares 120 and the launcher with a little bit of Silverback Amy. It's a nice solid setup. I have found, if anyone's got one of these or you're planning on getting one, I found one battery. Of all my batteries, one of them doesn't work. And it's a good condition battery. It's a Molicel 21700, just like all the other ones. But that one specific battery, I guess it may have a slight dent in the base. I have to look closer at it. Because this is one of those screw-in caps at the bottom, it keeps shutting off. Or it resets. Like I go to puff and it just comes back to life with the launch screen. I'm like, what?
Is it the stock wrap?
Yeah, it's all stock. It's fine. I think it's just got a little bit of a concave, maybe in the top and bottom, so that it just loses connection. But swap it out to the regular batteries. The rest of them, they're just fine. But that one single battery, and the problem is I can never remember which one it is because they all look the same. So
you should just like write on it with Sharpie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And you know that's
not for Aras.
Not safe.
But it is safe in everything else. That's the problem. And finally, the did I say? Yeah, Silverback Amy, which almost done. And I pulled out the Ursa because I like the Ursa. Fuck you all. It's a great device. And I put the Purge X on top with my not DHD Bearded Viking Customs sparkly thing. I never remember the names. Could give a shit about the names. I just think it looks pretty and it's sparkly, and I like sparkly things in my mouth. And this is filled up with some Future Juice, which looks just like that. And it's a vanilla custard. It's your your classic vanilla custard, which is perfect for running at about 80 watts with a lot of low end, low power breeze tones coils.
Low end, low power.
Don't you hate it when you do that? Like you are going to take a big vape and like it doesn't work. Why is that not kicking in? What the hell is going on?
Do you even vap, bro?
You just talked it up. You're like, oh, the Earth is the greatest. I love it.
Yeah. Misfire.
Let's give that a go.
Oh, there you go.
Indeed. Yeah. Spot the professional YouTuber on the panel. Indeed. Oh!
Ooh, dragon.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like a vape video. Oh,
I
man.
think you need to like pull that chair out and just like start doing some jellyfish like while we're talking.
Oh, fuck that shit. I can't do that shit. You've seen the extent of my tricks. They come down to 3 things. I can blow out the side of my mouth. I can blow out the front of my mouth. I can blow onto something. If I take really, really care, and my wife hates this, we go down to the garage. We're about to go out and have a vape. And as she's getting ready to come down, because I'm usually there first, I'll take a great big rip and I'll just slowly let it seep out onto the roof of the car so that the car is just like floating with like fog for no reason other than it amuses the fuck out of me. And it just sits there and it gets to the front and it just starts sliding down the windshield. And I just sit and go, that looks so awesome. And she's like, you're a fucking kid. What are you? You're 53, you're going on 2. What the hell's going on? There is a secondary version of that. Cool. There is a secondary version where you're supposed to be able to run your hand and make a tornado out of it. Yeah, I've done it like twice. Most of the time, I fuck it up. Tricks are not. I editing tricks, video tricks I can do. Vape tricks are just. I fail every single time.
It's because the aerodynamic nature of your beard is it's affecting the
I
vortex.
can blow O's and I can I can take a pretty long draw. Like, I mean, is that a trick? Like, I don't know.
There we go. Vandal's got it. Push it, bro. You gotta push it. Hadouken! Yeah.
You look so
call me just
angry while
Apple.
you're doing that.
No.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to go quickly what I've got through. Firstly, some of this action with the Sun Funk and Tones Shakedown, which is in the Jug V2 on the Denali 20X700 Snowcap mods, because that's live. That one's that. I also have another Snowcap mods, which is obviously more Sun. That is the Avalanche 2 20X700 Squank with the Citadel and a Signature Tips little action on the top there. Also DNA 75C Odin. Goddamn, that Sun is right in the right spot. That is the Jug MR. That one has in there, funny you said figs. I can't find the bottle, but I'm also vaping this brand. Canteen,
Really?
Canteen from the UK. It's not this one because this is the raspberry and pastry, but it's a fig and honeycomb and mascarpone e-liquid from the United Kingdom. It's quite very tasty. It's a little weird, but I like it. It's another one of those ones that's in the exhale. It's like, but I keep hitting it. But yeah, that's right. That's it. That's all I got. Oh, I do have a Cabalone as well. Cabalone.
What?
A Cabalone. Sorry, I always say it. It's Cabalone. It's not a Caliburn. It's a Cabalone. Cabalone Jew.
I'm always gonna be your tourist friend. That's like he said, Alula.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can stop.
He said Naya Crown. Yeah. Niagara. That's all I got put in my face holes. Yeah. Shall we move on to the pressing subject of Canada? We'll talk a little bit about Canada. I went through to bring up some links for everybody, because I think that Canada probably is the place that everyone needs to focus their attention right this very second. And I'm actually just going to start this with before we get into it, because I'm sure there's a lot to talk about. I'm actually going to talk about the You Can Even motivational blah blahs first, because this one is a really self-explanatory situation. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And I think that in places like Canada, Australia, there's many other countries that are getting stomped on with vaping and low-risk alternatives. We need to do that, band together. However that's going to happen, it's not an easy task to do, but I just wanted to start with that one because that's how it is. perhaps, unless anyone's got another question that they want to jump in, I do have some links to help direct people to the battle that is happening in Canada. But potentially, Chris, as a consumer slash small business owner, would you like to give us a little insight into what life is like for you now?
Okay, so I just want to I want to I want to say that I'm not a professional at this. I know enough, but I'm not like the most educated on these things. Like I'm trying to learn every day and I'm trying to do as much as I can. But unfortunately for me, a lot of the things that are like in the industry, they're held during the day. I think because I guess, a lot of people have vape shops or a lot of people have like liquid companies that's all they do. And there's nothing wrong with that, like at all. But for me, like I have a full-time job that I work 50 hours a week. And so it's hard for me to be completely on point with everything. But what I can say is that for me, the things that I've noticed so far are that, so as of July 1st, they made it, everything had to be a child-resistant container, right? So that includes vaping devices. So if you have like this RDA, for example, there's no way to actually prevent children from getting e-liquid on them. So apparently the Canadian government has issues with that because they are saying that children will drink the e-liquid. And so because it cannot be contained in there, they're now illegal to sell. You can still own them, you can still use them, but you can't buy them from any Canadian retailers, and no Canadian retailers can sell them. So that goes with RTAs. That goes with a lot of pod devices that were previously around before these CRC, compliance kind of came in. So as of July 1st is when all of that came into place for the child-resistant containers. So although like e-liquid bottles already have like the child-proof caps, they're okay. But things like RDAs, RTAs, even like sub-ohm tanks, they have to be now CRC. So you have to make it so there's a child-resistant like tank or whatever. So if you are an individual that, like, let's say, insert your generic sub-ohm tank, you can still get coils for those because those are not illegal, right? But you can't get a new one. So the only way you can get a new one is if there's like a CRC, so something that's been approved by the Canadian government that it's okay. And then after that gets pushed through and whatever else, that is available for sale, and that's available for anyone to just go pick up. So vape shops still have like products that they can sell. People can still use products to get off smoking, but now it's just made it more difficult because you're kind of limited to the actual products that you're allowed to purchase. So for the vape gear, that's what's happening with that. I think that everyone's kind of transitioning and like they're figuring it out, and obviously they've known about it for a while. That actually does not affect me that much because I normally wouldn't buy that many rebuildable things from Canada. I normally buy stuff from like China, or I'll like get stuff from America or whatever else, right? So that hasn't affected me that much, but it's also very fresh. So like eventually it might. Yeah. I have bought a reasonable amount of things that are from Canada, and I'm sure that eventually I'll be like, oh wow, like it's a real pain in the ass now. I can't get anything. So like you can't even legally, as far as I know, you legally cannot sell coils or cotton, even though you're allowed to sell like, when I say coils, sorry, I mean like coils for rebuildables. So like Adams coils, I could not sell to Canadians. I'm still allowed to sell it on the site, but I could not sell them to Canadians. Or if I had RDAs on the site, I couldn't sell them to Canadians or whatever else.
Yep. So you can international.
That's one thing.
Sorry, just to clarify that.
You can still send stuff internationally.
Yeah.
And like I think that realistically, it'd be like hard to get caught. But I personally, I'm just not going to bother. So like if someone tried to like order some coils from my site and they have a Canadian address, I would just email them and say, listen, I'm not allowed to sell you that. Like, I can either just refund you your whole order, or if you want, I can refund you the coils. You know, if you want the liquid, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the actual coils, like, I can't sell them to you. Like, like, full disclosure, I mean, if like a friend of mine hits me up and is like, hey Chris, like I really want to get some of those like Sammy's coils or whatever, I'd be like, okay, like just send me an email money transfer and like I'll ship them out to you. But like that'd be on the DL, right? Like I'm not gonna like advertise it and like allow anyone just random.
You're not going to talk about it on the internet.
And I'm not gonna go that way, right?
Yeah. What sucks about this too is that you're going with what kind of happened to us here in the U.S. is like the ignorance of what like of the whole aspect of vaping, because it sounds like they're basically trying to shut you down the pods because they didn't understand the whole market of like people using rebuildables and things like that, and that's why they can't figure out the child safety with RDAs and stuff like that because they're just not informed on it. They think it's just like jewels, like that's all they think that this stuff is.
Well, I think that also, honestly, Chris, like I think that a lot of it is the fact that like the Canadian government are so delusional that they think that kids are going to be going like this.
Yeah.
And like trying to drink liquid out of an RDA because it's not contained, or an RTA. They're just going to like take the top off because they're not childproof, and they're going to drink the liquid. And like that's honestly what they think. And it's sad because they're so ill-informed and they're making decisions for everyone without any kind of actual information. But at the same time, like I understand why they're trying to do things. I just think that they're doing it in like a haphazard way. Like to me, it doesn't make sense. But that's not even actually where it ends. So then now, that is for the CRC, like the child resistant container. So that got pushed through on July 1st. So since Canada Day, you were not allowed to sell them anymore. So now starting on July 23rd, there's a federal nicotine cap. So they're bringing in a federal nicotine cap, and basically what it means is that everyone in Canada, all like e-liquid manufacturers, all like even CRC approved things. So like if you have a pod device that's CRC and there's like pre-filled pods, so like a Juul, for example, because you can't get into it, they say that it's like child resistant, even though like realistically those things are no more child resistant than like a sub-ohm tank. Man, some people can't even, that are grown-ups, that are, a 40-year-old man can't figure out how to change a coil on something without being shown 10 times. But so they're bringing in a nicotine cap, and it's 20 milligram is the highest that you'll be able to get. So it's kind of like a TPD thing, I guess, with that nicotine cap. The one thing that like is really starting to like, it's bothering me, but at the same time I understand it and I can't change it, is that it's even affecting DIY. So like right now I'm just like stockpiling nicotine because I can still get it at 65 milligram, which most places can get more than that anyways. And we used to be able to get 100 milligram, and starting in January, or it was either this January or last January, I can't remember which one, they dropped it to 65, and now they're dropping it to 20.
Yeah.
So like if you go in to like a gas station, for example, and you want to buy a Juul, or you want to buy whatever, I can't remember the other ones now, their max is going to be 20 milligrams. So that's salt nic or freebase, it doesn't matter, they're considered the same thing. And that goes for the DIY too. So you can't go on like a DIY site and buy like 65 milligram nicotine because it's going to become illegal. So you're going to have to buy 20 milligram nicotine. And like the thing that I always like joke around about, even though it's not really something to joke about because it's sad as fuck, but I already know, like for a site that I normally would go and buy nicotine, I would spend, when it was 100 milligram, it would be $23.99 for a 120 mil bottle, right? When they dropped it to 65 milligram, it was $23.99. And now I'm sure that when it goes to 20 milligram on the 23rd, it's going to be $23.99. And so now in like a year's time, I now have to buy 5 times the amount of nicotine, to nick up my own shit. it's going to cost me 5 times as much money. So like it's just all the it's kind of like this like money grab. Like I don't. It's like everywhere else where you don't really believe that it's all about the kids, but like they're really holding fast that that's what it's about. So they're saying, you know, that if they make everything 20 milligram, then you know there's a less likelihood of like if a kid gets into it, they're gonna get sick, or if a youth starts vaping it, they won't get that real nicotine hold on them, and they won't be interested.
That's
because
what they
it's
say,
not
but
going
it's
to get them like that nick high.
The irony is that someone is currently using Juuls, and they say they use 1 pod a day, 50 milligram pod every single day, 7 pods a week. That's what they use, and they've dropped it down to 20. The reality is that user is probably within 3 days going to be up to 2, maybe 3 pods per day. We're talking about adults who have quit, trying to prevent relapse, but because it's lower now, they need to puff a little bit more. They take a slightly longer break every time they go. They puff a little bit more. They go through their pod a little bit faster. They'll find, 2. Okay, now they're actually up to 60 milligrams a day because they're going through 3 pods instead of 150.
Yeah. It's a win-win for their government because either you quit because you can't afford to do it, or you keep paying into it and you keep paying more and you get the money off of it. It's a win-win for them. It's suppressive economics. It's either you either have enough money to stay in the fight and keep going with it, or you don't. And that's it.
Well,
yeah, it's like a really weird thing, right? Like to me, it just doesn't make sense because I think about it like this. Like I understand, 50 milligram. Maybe that's not needed, right? Like I use 50 milligram. But that was like when Saltnik kind of came out and all the pods, like I bought an Infinix and I bought a 50 milligram Saltnik from like the shop that I bought the Infinix at. And I'd already been vaping 3 milligram for a couple of years at that time, but it was just like that easy, quick fix. And pretty quickly I found that like that was too much for me. And I also just didn't enjoy it. So like I went away from it and I kind of gave it up. But there's a lot of people that have not done that. But also I see like a lot of older people that go in, and if you smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day, are you telling me that you use 20 milligrams Saltnik, that's going to be enough for you? You're going to be like, no, I'm not even going to quit. Why would I quit? I feel miserable. I can't do all these things. So like for me, it's like the deterrent for getting, actual smokers off is just, to me, it's stupid. I understand that 50 milligram is like an incredibly high amount, and that's where a lot of people are taking advantage of it.
Hold on a sec, because I know that
for some people the right thing.
There's a lot of antithesis, even within our community, against 50 milligram or higher nicotine in pod systems, and I feel it's a complete misunderstanding of how we absorb it and how they're meant to be used. I vape, and you guys have seen. I'll sit here and I'll blow up massive clouds just all day long at 3 milligram. But if I were using a pod system at 50 milligram, of course, I'm not blowing out as much clouds. I'm not inhaling as much. And it would end up, at the end of the day, absorbing exactly the same amount of nicotine from a 50 milligram pod as I would from 3 milligram dripping. It's all about the dose. It's how much you're dosing yourself with. So 50 milligram pod systems are perfect, for a lot of people, for the transitional smokers who are busy or out and about. They're moving all day long. They don't sit and have vape sessions. They don't take a 2-hour lunch break. They're out for 5 minutes to take 3 puffs. They put it away. Rather than being there and having 2 cigarettes, they take 3 puffs, and then they go back to what they're doing. The 3 puffs are the equivalent of their 2 cigarettes because the dosage is higher in content, but lower in intake, if that makes sense.
That's the ignorance that they have, though, because they're treating it like it were to be considered a drug addiction, when most of the times when we vape or anything like that, sure, sometimes we'll sit around and have a couple cloudy sessions, but it's more normally like, oh, I want to hit my vape real quick, boom, back in my pocket, just to say the sensation or the want that we have for it. And it's not like something where it's like just for, not to like make anyone feel bad about anything, but it's like, imagine eating ice cream. You don't eat ice cream till you throw up. Treat people like fucking adults and let people vape as much as they need. Yeah. Because they're not going to go there. I'm not going to sit here and vape this. It's a 25 milligram. I'm not going to oh crap, I'm dead. That's not what
Yeah.
happened. It's like you vape it as necessity. You know what I mean? It's not something that you're just
Self-titration.
gonna overeat
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. I mean, self-titration is the actual proper phrase for this. And they keep holding these things up and going, well, every pod is like a pack of cigarettes. It's a full pack of cigarettes in there. But what they never continue saying is, and you should use that pod in about the same amount of time as you would smoke a full pack of cigarettes. So if you're a pack every 2 days, a pod should last you every 2 days. If you are a pack a day, you're a pod a day. They're the equivalent. And that's the way you've got to look at it. Yes, it is equivalent to a pack of cigarettes if you use it in that manner, in that sort of timing. If you find that you're the kind of person that sits and just goes hard on your jewel and you like 2 hours and you're spinning, throwing up, maybe it's already time for you to transition, move to sort of a sub-ohm tank and drop down to 6 milligrams for a while, because clearly 50 milligram is not for you. But for the average,
for the average person.
yeah.
But I think that also, like, you're treating it like only adults vape, right? And like, unfortunately, that's not true, right? Responsible people are not the only people that vape. Just like drinking, right? Like, I mean, everyone learned their lesson drinking. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people learn their lessons drinking young, right? You get a little carried away, and then once you're in your mid-20s, you're like, okay, look, I know that if I have X number of drinks, I'm going to be regretting it tomorrow. And then you might not go ahead and have those extra drinks. But when you're 15 or 16 and you're experimenting with it, you'll get carried away. You'll end up throwing up. And, that's when all the stories happen. People are like, oh, I had to get my stomach pumped when I was 15. And, like, unfortunately,
but that's where they should be focusing it on, is like, educating.
And I think that's like what the Canadian government is trying to do. They're trying to like put all these things in to make it the least dangerous to youth, right? Like, do I honestly think that the Canadian government thinks that like some kid is gonna like lap an RDA and die? If they do, I mean, that's amazing that they're literally the dumbest people on the planet. But like, they have this effort, and I think that it's like you can't go half-assed, they have to go full-ass, right? Like, that's the way that they're going. Like, they can't be like, oh, well, we understand that certain people can like control themselves, but unfortunately we have to like make these laws for people that can't, right? It's like, you can't go into, like, up here, you can't go into the beer store and buy alcohol before 10 o'clock. Because if you could, people would. And like, that's the government's way of saying like, hey, we know this is bad. We know that people have problems. So we're going to limit when they can buy it. And if you're drunk, you can't buy anything. And I'm sure that the same thing happens with like cannabis now up here, because now it's legal. I'm pretty sure that if you like go in there and you're like clearly inebriated in some way, that they're not going to be like, oh yeah, sure, take this like, eighth of weed or whatever else. Like, they'd be like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to come back when you're sober. Like, so it's like these things are happening in other parts of your life. It's just that you're so used to them being there that it's not that big of a deal anymore. So like, let's just say it, 10 years from now in Canada, if vaping is going the way that it's going now, and it just stays going and staying at the same point of where it'll be, let's say in the middle of 2022, people at 8 years from now, they won't be like, oh yeah, you remember the heyday? Most people will be like, this is the way that it's always been. I'm just used to this. I just don't vape flavors unless they're mint tobacco or menthol. And like, I can't use more than 20 milligram nicotine, and everything that I have to use is like something that's childproof or child resistant or whatever, right?
I hear what you're saying, but I think part of the argument is the effectiveness of vaping as a cessation method, because we're talking about something that, yes, kids they engage in risky behavior, they do stupid stuff, and we're never going to stop that no matter what laws we pass. I mean, they pass these laws, kids will just be vaping tobacco at 20 milligram. It's not going to change anything. But the efficacy of vaping as a transitional method for tobacco harm reduction for adults, it does change things. Making it less expensive than tobacco, making it more attractive, making it more tailorable, something that you can tailor to your own personal tastes. All of these things make a huge difference to the end user, the adult end user, as a transition method. And what they're doing is legally reducing the amount of avenues or options that there are for adults that make it less effective. We're saying in a couple of years, if the way things are going, they don't change, you're going to be looking at adults who at that point are smoking, need to quit, but they can't quit the way we quit. They can't quit with the ease that we quit. They can't use layer cakes. They can't build their own coils. They can't have lime cheesecake or mango milkshake or whatever they want. They're stuck to, these taste like shit compared to cigarettes, which is the reverse of what works. I mean, we know that vaping, generally, flavors are so key. They make such a huge difference. When you take those away, there's less of an impetus to actually stick with it. When you reduce the options that people have for switching to different things, trying out different ways of vaping to see what works for them, again, it becomes less effective. You were talking about, I understand the protect the kids thing, but think about this. There are like stupid emo kids all over the world, and every year a whole bunch of them, they decide to pick up a knife and cut themselves. It's horrible. It's just a thing that happens. So we make laws that say that kids can't buy fancy knives that are really, really too sharp for them, and that's fine. I agree with that. You shouldn't be selling great big ultra dangerous hooked knives to 14-year-old kids, but you can still sell them to knife collectors who are adults. They're still available, unadulterated. And that's to me a responsible thing. It's now in the hands of the retailer to be on top of that. Retailer is selling knives to 12-year-olds. Okay, fuck man, you've lost your license, close down. And I think the same thing goes. Like, why are we putting restrictions on the end user when we should be putting penalties and restrictions on the retailers? Why do we hold tobacco shops accountable for selling alcohol to drunks at 9 a.m.? No, you can't do that. You have to be 10 a.m. And if you do that, you're going to lose your license and we're going to shut you down. That's fair enough. Why are we not focused on, okay, you guys have all these vape products. Please don't be selling them to kids. And if you do, we're going to shut you down. We're going to find the fuck out of you. I mean, that makes a lot more sense to me, retaining the efficacy of vaping as a viable quitting method and targeting those that are undermining public safety.
Yeah. The one thing with vaping that's always been prevalent, and it's one thing that'll bug me to the end of me, is that the rules are always being made for those who shouldn't instead of being made for those who should. Like everything about it is like that. But that's the end of my rant.
Yeah.
But that's very true though.
I saw, and this is going to make Adam really happy. He's probably already seen it. An article going around now that's talking about. Of course, we have different laws coming in Australia starting October 1st. And apparently they're looking at, we've heard all about the crackdown on the user. Everything that we've been hearing has all been all about the actual vapor. If you don't have a prescription, if you bring it in, all that stuff. But they've actually outlined, the TGA have outlined a schedule of fines for the distributors. So if you are distributing nicotine in Australia and you shouldn't be, there was it $11,000 per incident fines? Which, all they got to do is send a kid into the tobacconist, boom, they're fucked if he's selling under the counter. It's actually, I actually took heart from that to see that they're actually considering taking care of that side of things. Yeah,
only because it's going rife and it's nothing but bad news for us. I just really quickly want to interject. There's a few links that I've been putting into chat. I mean, I know we are in our self-contained little bubble talking to people who probably know these things already, but they're...
Actually, just want to... I'm sorry to interrupt, but PSS... I want to say that the stupid kids will find a way to take 20 milligram and adapt it to still get their Nick buzz. For the most part, they're not vaping because they like it. That's the thing too. 20 milligram in a pod system that, we've said, is designed to be mouth to lung. All it takes is for them to boost up the battery.
Dude, it just takes them using 20 milligram in a CRC sub-ohm tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to get high as fuck. If you're blowing clouds with 20 milligram, you're going to get something.
So watch the sale of Joules and pre-filled pod systems and all that sort of underground black market to teenagers thing in Canada, watch that dry up completely, and all the kids in Canada start buying bottles and little 0.6 or 0.3 sub-ohm tanks just to even
Or
it
honestly,
out.
okay, Legion, I'll just say this, okay? So this is something that I saw on Reddit. This was maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I saw it on Reddit, and it was this kid. And I knew that it was in Canada because of the cup that he was using. But he had 5 joules into one coffee cup. And he was just like hossing on this like coffee cup in a school bathroom. He had like all of his buddies' joules, his joule, whatever, and he was hitting 5 joules at once, like blowing these like pretty fat clouds, and it was all jammed into a Tim Hortons cup.
Yep.
On one hand, you're watching that going, that's really bad for our industry. On the other hand, man, you're just blown away by his ingenuity. Like, man, you thought your way around this, didn't you?
Yeah, but
Good
like,
on
that's
you,
the
kid.
thing, right? There'll be kids just doing that with like a bunch of 20 milligram pods, and they're
Yeah.
like, man, this is like hitting 2 joules. This is amazing.
I did the same with 4 cigarettes as a party trick back in the day as well. So it's just adapting for the times.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to some of these links that I've been putting in. One is, I guess, a press release, which is Rights for Vapors website, which is a good place for Canadian consumers to find out what's going on, particularly with their blog and the calls to action. One there is also this one I only just saw today, and it's for July 15th, 6 p.m. Montreal time. It is a webinar, which the topic is Educate, Empower, Engage, Save Vaping, Save Lives. I'm going to just read this description really quickly as well. It says, please join us for the first ever Rights for Vapors virtual conference, where we will have a wide variety of speakers speak on topics that will vary from the current proposed flavor ban on vaping products to sharing advice on what you can do as a user of vaping products. Additionally, there will be a Q&A period where you can ask questions to the guest speakers. Registration and admission is free, and I am actually just going to put that again into the chat because I hadn't seen that until just now. It doesn't say anything about worldwide, but I'm assuming if you can register and drop in for the virtual situation, it would be very good to educate yourself on those things, as particular what is happening in Canada. There is another link there as well for the Canadian Vaping Association on Twitter, which is their news feed. Another very excellent place to find out what's going on. But also the last one, which I'm going to put in, sorry, there's an information dump. This one is for Tobacco Kills, which is also a way to contact your lawmakers and your elected officials. Please have your part, and let's go back to the motivational blah blahs, is that we all need to go together to do that. So that is a very big thing. Yes, it's
I
time.
think that like right now is like a really big time too. It's not even just
Yes.
for the nicotine cap and the fact that it's like all CRC stuff, but there is like kind of a bigger deal, I guess. It's just there's not that much information out on it yet that I have, but there is like an impending flavor ban.
Yes.
But it's not until January of 2022. So like right now, I guess they're just working on things and they're trying to figure out things and whatever else. But it, as the way that it is now, basically there's like a proposal that there'll be a flavor ban. So like it'll be only things that are allowed are tobacco, mint, and menthol, no sweeteners. So like even concentrates that have sweet, like they'll have to look at the breakdowns. So like every single flavoring that you use, right? So like every flavoring that I use in my liquids, or like anyone that you guys are vaping, there'll be like a full data sheet for every single individual flavor that is a component of that. So like if you have Capella's vanilla custard, there'll be like a data sheet for that. It'll tell you all the parts per million of all these different things. So if there's anything in there that is sweet, you will not be allowed to use that in a recipe. So like you're going to be relying solely on the sweetness from like VG, which is like, it is sweet. If you have just VG and you touch to your tongue, it does like make you salivate a bit. There's a little element of sweetness, but ultimately it's not really that sweet. So
if they
That might
enforce
happen,
this,
but
if they enforce this to the letter, not only does that kill all flavors, but it kills off the majority of tobacco flavorings anyway, because very, very few of them are a straight tobacco flavor. They've all got a sweetener or a nut tone or something else. RY4 is not actually tobacco. It's a bunch of different caramels and sweeteners. I mean, so anything that is based on those, which is the majority of them, wouldn't be able to slide through if they enforce it properly. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying they don't think
that's just the way that it's like written right now.
Yeah,
right? Like,
they don't
you know
think
what I
these
mean?
things through.
Yeah.
No, they definitely don't. I think that it was just like kind of added, like, because this is the way that it's broke down, right? They were talking about certain things, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, here's the deal: July 1st, you're no longer gonna be able to sell anything rebuildable. Everything has to be in a child-resistant container. July 23rd, yep, we're dropping the nicotine max from 65 down to 20, like across the board. And then we're going to take away flavors at the beginning of next year. So it's just like everything was so quick that like there's no chance that even when the government has a lot of time, they don't make smart decisions very often, right?
A little
Like,
bit of a
there's
tinfoil,
constant proof of that.
little bit of a tinfoil hat moment, but is it possible that the threat of a flavor ban is to distract you from fighting the things that are currently going on, such as the child caps and the nicotine caps? I mean, if you're
it's
all,
possible, but those things are already there, right? Like,
but the thing,
you
the
can't
thing, but what I'm saying is, yeah, they're already there, and it's harder to overturn something that's already in place. But if we've got another thing coming on the horizon, we focus on that, and maybe we'll overturn it, maybe we won't. But while we're doing that, we're accepting what's already been done. Nobody's going to worry too much about the nicotine cap. We can swallow that. It's the flavor thing we got to fight. And as long as we're focused on that, then the nicotine cap goes through without much comment.
Well, it's an excellent way to keep the
that's
goalposts
possible.
constantly moving. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing you do with kids. When you've got a 6-year-old, you don't say, do you want to have some broccoli for dinner? You find out what they hate the most, and you give them an option. It's like, you want Brussels sprouts, or do you want to clean your room? I'll clean my room. And good, I got the job done. You give them two options. One of them that they won't take. It's manipulation. Yes, I manipulate kids.
Pam, PSS is saying there in chat, the only thing Canadians need to do right this minute is to respond to the CDN Gazette during the comment period on the flavour ban. Pam, if you do have a link for that, that would be ace. Please post that because again, this is three non-Canadians talking about Canada with one very strong advocate Canadian talking about it. So and please, any help that would be great. Great. Yeah.
Also, I did have a question for you, Overdrip. I've tried to find info on it, and like Adam even tried. Like, we heard you guys were having some sort of rally, and now I can't find anything about it.
Yeah, so I don't know like the full details, only because I remember reading about it in an email that I had, and I tried to find it when I was at work today, but I couldn't find it. I know that there was. I'm not saying that it's not still around, but there was talks that there was going to be one, and I think that it was like August 21st. I think it was a Saturday, right around like August 21st, and it's in Ottawa, like it's at Capitol Hill. So like, as it gets closer, like I imagine that more details will come to light. But like at this exact moment, I don't know any specifics. I just know that there's a plan to have like I guess it would be something similar to like what happened in America when like a bunch of people went to like Capitol Hill, or what do you guys? Is that what you guys call it too?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
the rally in the park.
There. Yeah, and there'll be like a rally. So that's planned. Mike from Queen City Vapes was telling me about it originally, and then he said that he would see me there because I actually don't live. I live like only about 3 hours away from Ottawa. So for me, it's not that bad, but I know that like he's planning coming from Regina, which is really far away, to come to Ottawa, and like I know that there's people planning behind the scenes for it. I think that right now there was just like a save the date at this moment now.
Okay.
So I don't know like any specifics as for times, or I just know that it's a Saturday during the day.
Just
and
as
it's in Ottawa.
and as a dumb addendum question to that, how will COVID restrictions, that won't be any situation, you'll still be able to effectively publicly.
I think that by that point, we're like multiple stages in now.
Yep.
I think that we're like stage 3, or you know what? I don't even know. I've worked the whole time, so like I don't even really know. I know that like a lot of people have got their vaccinations here, and they're like beyond the levels that they needed for like the steps to go on and whatever else. Like I think that there's something like over 80% of the eligible people in Canada have like gotten their first shot, and over 40% have got their
Yep.
second shot. I think that actually they're saying on the news that we're like right at par, or we might be like surpassing the double vaccinated people in America at this point.
Yeah, nice.
So like I think that those restrictions probably won't affect them that much, especially when it's going to be outside. So I think that that'll probably okay. Like I mean, people might still have to wear masks. I'm not entirely sure how that'll work. I'm sure that that'll all kind of come out when they start talking about the planning and what they're expecting from individuals and whatever else. So I think that just if you're in Canada and you have the ability to go to Ottawa in like that third weekend, I guess it would be in August, just like keep your eye out on Twitter, follow some of the bigger people on Twitter. I'm sure that like I'll mention it on like the green room or something, and I'll probably, you'll see some posts on Instagram, I'm sure about it.
Yep.
So just kind of keep your ear to the ground, and you'll probably be able to find out something.
I am currently looking for the comment situation that Pam was talking about. Product regulation, I'm sure that's the one. I'm going to put this link in. That's a very, very good place to start. I hope that's the right one, but that's a link for vaping product regulations, excuse me, and that will take you to Canada Health, or Canada.ca.
Has anyone put together any sort of social media program similar to what happened in the States? I quit vaping with these flavors, that sort of thing, just to get the ball rolling and get Canadian vapors sort of to be active and
some
speak
of
up.
those things that like Adam was putting the links for, like Tobacco Kills and like Rights for Vapors and stuff, they've kind of had some campaigns. So if you go there, there's like petitions you can sign, as well as they give information for like your local representatives, all these things. So like I personally wrote my local representative, and I gave them like the quick lowdown. I smoked for over 20 years. I managed to get convinced to try vaping by a friend, and turned out that like it allowed me to quit smoking of like a 20+ year habit, and like these are some of the flavors that I used, and this is how it would affect me if like these things happen and whatever else. So like right now there's that. I think that like a lot of vape shops have like things going on in their vape shops where they're informing people, and they're trying to get the word out, and they're just trying to get people to like do the signatures just to like help out with the cause. I know that there was a GoFundMe, but I don't want to say that it was like achieved or anything, but I think that there was a few companies that put like some big donations in, because like even though Canada, like generally speaking, when you compare it to America, it's like a small country population wise, like realistically there's still almost 40 million people that live here. So there's still a lot of people, and there's a lot of bigger businesses that have kind of chipped in. So there's been some backing financially to like get a lawyer on retainer and like certain things like this. So like there's a bunch of stuff that's going on behind the scenes that people in the industry are like really familiar with. And when I say people in the industry, I don't mean like just like a hobbyist vapor. I mean like people that are either like advocates, or like big store owners, or like huge liquid manufacturers, like people that would order 5,000 bottles from the lab at one time, like those kinds of people that have a little bit more financial might. So there's all these things that are going on. It's just because everything kind of happened so quickly, there's been a lot of like figuring it out. Okay, look, this is now what we're up against. Now we have to start to like figure out how we're gonna attack it. So that's kind of what's been going on, and I get a lot of my information from Mike at Queen City Vapes because he's part of the Canadian Vapers Association.
Yeah.
So there are things happening. It's just, I think it could even be down to like what Steve said before. Like there's so many fires that it's hard to know where you have to concentrate it on. So I think that all those things are just kind of, the game plan is still getting like pulled together as opposed to like everyone lashing out and trying to make their difference. Like it's going to be a collective effort that wins this or pushes back. So that's what I guess the hope is at this point.
I think amongst the older generation, especially the non-vaping older generation, and just the average unaware segment of society, the idea is like the narrative. It's not true, but the idea is that adult smokers who have transitioned to vaping, well, they're using mint or tobacco because that's what they smoked. All this flavor stuff, that's just marketing towards kids. Only kids are using the flavors. So if we take the flavors away, that won't hurt any of the vapors. They'll be fine because they're already using tobacco anyway. It doesn't change anything. That's the narrative that the average person thinks or feels. And so changing that perception, making them understand that, yes, that may be the way you view it, but that's not how it actually is in reality. I am a 53-year-old man, and I love my cakes. I love my donuts. I love my fruits, and so getting that sort of message out again. This it almost feels retro because we went through this in the States 2 years ago. We're kind of going through it a little bit here. That same idea of getting the public to change that narrative. When you change it in the public's eye, let them know that grandmothers and lawyers and plumbers and adults are enjoying flavors. It changes the narrative, and it makes what the government's doing look a little bit less acceptable.
Yeah.
I
feel like we could talk for hours and hours on this situation. This is not over. I think also that as the dates get closer, we could probably use our platform to help Canada a little bit more. And Overdrip, would you come back? We should get Spider-Man to come on as well. I'm sure there's
absolutely.
I'm sure that there's probably plenty that we can still do. I'm going to kind of wrap it up because we are coming into time. Thank you so much for coming on, Overdrip, and this is not over. We will continue talking about it, but PSS, Miss Pam has placed in there, which is the petitions.ourcommons.ca link, which will be in the chat, which is the hardcore official must do everything right and pat your head 3 times and jump on the same spot situation of what governments require when you're making comment period. But that will be there. I think if I can share this around to everyone after the show, perhaps we can help and get it out onto the socials as well, because that obviously seems like the important thing to do. We have to call it as time, folks. Massive love to everyone. Final words, any folks? Anyone?
No Friday Fallout this week. We're taking a vacation. We're leaving you kids at home and we're going to the beach. And we're going to swing with random people in our hotel.
Ooh,
nice.
You got a better week planned than me.
Yeah.
I meant me and Anthony, so.
Oh, are you going to meet him? Is he coming by?
No, I'm just being very facetious. No, there's just no show. Anthony's going to be on the road doing some CBD stuff, I think. I don't listen when he talks. But, yeah. So, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so he's going to be busy. And then it's summertime. I think I'm going to finally use the pool in my community. So, yeah.
Nice.
That's it for me, though.
Awesome.
The only thing I have to say is to remind people that this is the week that my schedule changes so that we know have a coffee with Legion Vapes tomorrow morning. We're moving that to Thursday, and it will be starting at 9:30 my time, whatever that is in your part of the world. So don't feel like you're missing out if you don't see me tomorrow. It's the day after. Other than that, business as usual.
Awesome. Overdrip, where can people find you?
Okay, well, I'll say, first of all, if you guys want to know anything about DIY stuff or you're interested in DIY stuff, you can check me out tomorrow on KVTV's YouTube channel for Mixing It Up. It starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you guys are interested in checking me out on the Green Room on Friday nights at the same time, it's on Frames, Jankel, and Vapors YouTube channel with me, Sean, and James, or Sean, James, and I guess I should say. As well as if you guys want to check out the Shed Time Podcast, just go to shedtimepodcast.com. It's got all the links for our sponsors, as well as, you know, some coupon codes and some stuff like that, and give us a follow on SoundCloud. That'd be dope. And for myself individually, you could follow me on Instagram or whatever. I don't really post that much, so like don't really expect anything. But if you guys do want, you can check out my liquid. It's at UncleChrisTestingGrounds.com. And if you guys use the code SHEDTIME, it saves you 15%. And like I was saying before, don't worry, Americans. It gets to you. It might take longer than your 3 or 4 days that you like literally have to expect. It might be twice that, but really, for something quality, it's always worth waiting for. That's the way that I'll leave it at.
Word.
Oh, and also thank you for having me on. It was great.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
always.
absolute pleasure. We want to thank you out there in the YouTube world with your face holes and giving up your time to hang out with us and be amongst the conversation and engaging. We love you with all our parts and bits, squishy stuff. Thanks, fellas. Thanks, folks. That'll be it, and we'll see you next time and stuff next week. Yeah.
Hey, when you said squishy stuff, I instantly thought of flaccid penis. Is that weird?
That is kind of weird. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
All right.
We love you all with our flaccid penises.
So before the show, I was talking